In this video, we're going to look at Did I Miss My Calling? A faith perspective for women over 40. Have you ever asked yourself quietly, or even maybe with some guilt, did I miss my calling? You love God, you've tried to be faithful, but something along the way, life happened. And now you're wondering if the best part of your purpose is behind you. And if that question has ever bothered you and just kept you awake at night, this video is for you. Now, this question is really one of the most common and painful questions that I hear from women over 40. Not because they've done nothing in their lives, but because they've done so much. Think about it, your career, your family, your responsibilities, your sacrifice, often without even a pause. We go from one thing to the next thing to the next thing. We raise our kids and we got grandkids. We raise those, we got, so there's always something. And when life finally starts to slow down, that's when you start reflecting and asking yourself, did I miss my calling? Because you think about what you wanted to be when you were younger, or I didn't go to school, or I didn't do this when I thought that's what I was going to be doing. And that's where that actually seed starts once everything quiets down and we look back over all of the things that we've been doing nonstop, that's when that season happens. And in my life, there was a season I really wrestled with this because I really wasn't off track morally or spiritually, but I really felt a little bit off internally because I remember thinking, God, did I misunderstand you? Did I miss something? Crying about asking God about certain things. And I thought you said this, and now I'm trying this, and this is not working, and I'm trying that, and that's not working. It's very challenging when you go through that season when you feel like you're not hearing God or you miss the mark. Oh, I know what God said. I know what God said. And you stepped out in that thing and zero. Shoot, nothing. And all of the people who promised they were going to support you are not there. And that's the challenge I had. All the people, yeah, Mom, we're going to help you. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. No, zip crickets. Ghosting is what they call it right now. So I had to get with God and really regroup my thoughts, my actions, and what it is that God was showing me. And really what changed a lot of things for me, it wasn't just a new plan. It wasn't a new plan. It was really me understanding how God's calling actually works. So we're going to look at Joel chapter 2, verse 25 in the New King James Version. And it reads, I will restore to you the years that the locusts have eaten. I only read a part of it. So this verse, it's not about punishment. It's about redemption. God does not waste years. He redeems them. He didn't waste the years of my life. Although when you step out in that new thing and it's not working, you feel like, did I miss God? Did I miss my calling? Or I'm doing something that maybe I shouldn't have done all these years. And in Isaiah 46:10, it says, my purpose will stand and I will do all that I please. If God's purpose depended on perfect timing, we would not qualify. Trust me, we would not qualify. So let me just share one thing. Calling is not one moment. It is a lifelong unfolding. It's a journey. It is. It really is. And just look back on the things that you have done. And there's still that thread. I always like to say there's still that thread. If you wanted to be this when you were a child, say you wanted to be a so to work at the fire department or something like that, and you never did that, you went into something else, you still put out fires. You just did it in a different way if you were always helping people. Those kind of things we don't think about as relatable, but they are. And we always hear this delay is not denial. Well, you feel like it. Sometimes our emotions look like, when, God, when is this going to happen? I've been praying. I've been seeking your face. What if I missed it, Lord? What if I spent all these years doing something that you didn't ask me to do? Well, God is redeeming the time. Today is a day of redemption. Today is a time where you can turn the page, turn the new chapter in my life. Let me go back and think about what God had originally spoke to my heart to do, and then start aligning yourself with some of those things. Maybe you can't do all of them, but there is something that you can do to get back into what you know is going to make. God doesn't want you working in a place where you're unhappy. God does not do that. He does not do that. Our calling is what we have the most joy doing, and it doesn't really feel like work. Some people take care of kids, that's the joy of their life. But that is what God called them to do. And it could be in anything. It could be in hairstyle. It could be in any area. God has made sure that there is someone in whatever area of our lives that we're looking to be in, that there's something out there for everyone. Everyone. And delay doesn't mean denial. Now, God can recalibrate purpose across our seasons. So, what do I mean by recalibrate? Well, it's just making an adjustment. It's going to be, if I wanted to be a teacher or something when I was little, and I didn't do that for many years, I worked somewhere else or I did something different, I can look back and say, okay, I was still teaching in some aspects of that position. But you can look back and find those things, but you have to start moving forward and say, okay, so what can I teach now? What can I teach now? Well, I can teach individuals personally how to identify your potential, your passion, your purpose, and move it to the next level. That's one of the things that God had given me when I stepped out into what I'm doing right now, to create programs and to create activities so that you know where you're going and how to execute it. Now, you can know where you're going, but how do I get there? What steps do I need to take? So I had to realign some of the things I was doing. And realigning means, some of that means to get rid of some things. Not get rid of people, but get rid of some of the busy work or the busy things that we're doing that we don't necessarily have to do. You have to take an inventory of your personal life, what you're doing, what you've committed to. Sometimes you've overcommitted yourself to where you don't have the space to move ahead in that what God called you to do. So you're going to have to back out of that. And there's a way that God will give you to do that. Just learn how to say no. And that's something that we all struggle with, saying no. We want to be helpful to people. We don't want to seem selfish. We want to make sure that we're helping others, because that's what the Bible teaches us to do. Love one another, we help one another, but it's not at the expense of who you are as an individual and God's calling on your life. So if you feel like you missed God's calling, it may just be because there's so many things in there that it's kind of squeezed out a little bit. So you have to take a step back. And really the Bible is for people, who had a calling later in life. Moses, he was 80. He was 80. Abraham, he was what, 75 when he left the house. Now you don't want your kids to be 75 and leaving the house. However, you know, just because we're more mature does not mean that we're ready for the boneyard. And you have to remind people of that. But you have to remind them in a way that they understand that you still have something to contribute. Looking at you like you just too old. So now we are going to reframe the question instead of did I miss my calling? So now let's reframe the question, did I miss my calling? And you're going to ask, what is God calling me to do now? So what is he calling you to do now? And you shouldn't be doing it out of a sense of guilt or regret or disappointment or discouragement. What is he calling me to do now? Let's just turn the page. You don't want to have to feel like everything is for naught. What is God calling you to do now, today? It's time to turn the page. It is time to get into your next season. But it does take work. It takes patience. You need to be patient with you. It's not all going to happen in one day overnight. So now, if this resonates with you, I want you to hear this clearly. God is not done with you. And if you want help discerning what your next step should look like without pressure or striving, I've created a free guide called Faith Driven Career Clarity for Women Over 40, and the link is below. And so, and next week, we're going to be talking about being overqualified and that it isn't a weakness and how you can use it wisely. So I will see you in the next video, and you have a great one.